You ever watch a poker pro and they just make it look, well, easy? You're probably thinking they just get lucky with the cards, but that's not it at all. See, poker is a game of decision quality, and today we're going to pull back the curtain and break down the thinking frameworks that really separate the best from the rest.
So let's just get right into it. What is the one thing that truly separates a consistently winning player from everyone else at the table?
Well, the answer isn't some secret card reading trick or just, pure dumb luck. It's the quality of their thinking. Pros use these powerful mental frameworks to make better decisions under pressure, again and again and again.
All right, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the poker player's dilemma. Then we'll get into building your mental toolkit. We've got strategic tools, discipline tools, and then we'll wrap it all up by showing you how to actually put them to work.
Okay, so this whole thing really starts with the main dilemma for any poker player. How in the world do you think clearly when the pressure is on and the pot is huge? Well, the answer is building a mental toolkit. This gives your brain a reliable system to fall back on, keeping you calm and sharp when it matters most.
In that system, it's built on something called mental models. Now, don't let the fancy name fool you. A mental model is just the simple way to explain how something works. It gives your mind structure, cutting through the chaos of a really tough hand and letting you think clearly.
In this explainer, we're going to add 6 essential mental models to your new toolkit. We've got strategic tools like the 80-20 rule, Inversion, and Occam's razor, and then we've got discipline tools like Negativa and the circle of control. Let's dive in with that first set, the strategic tools.
So first up, the strategic tools. Think of these as the ones that sharpen how you analyze the game, the situations, and, of course, your opponents.
The first tool is the 80-20 rule, sometimes called the Pareto principle. And this one is a real game changer because it points to a core truth in poker. Roughly 80% of your profits are going to come from just 20% of the hands you play. A tiny fraction of your actions drive the vast majority of your results. So, what does this mean for how you actually get better? It means you stop trying to study everything. Instead of trying to master some obscure river spot that only happens once a month, you focus all your energy on that vital 20%. Perfecting your pre-flop ranges or nailing your big blind defense. That's where the real money is made. All right, let's grab our next tool, Inversion. Now, this one might feel a little weird at first. It's all about approaching a problem backward. So instead of asking, how can I win this pot, you flip it. And you ask, what's the absolute worst-case scenario here, and how do I avoid it?
Thinking this way is just so powerful. It helps you find the holes in your own strategy. For example, before you pull the trigger on a big bluff, you use inversion. You ask yourself, okay, what happens if I get called? This forces you to really think about the story you're telling and whether it makes any sense. It makes you less afraid and a whole lot more calculated.
The third strategic tool is a classic, Occam's razor. I like to think of this as the ultimate secret weapon against overthinking. The principle is dead simple. When you have a bunch of different explanations for something, the most straightforward one is probably the right one.
Oh man, we've all been there, right? We spin these wild, complex theories about what our opponent is up to. Oh, he's definitely running a multi-street triple-range merge bluff. When, in reality, he probably just has a good hand. Occam's razor keeps you grounded and focused on what's most likely happening.
And our final strategic tool is relativity. This model accepts a simple, hard truth. It's incredibly difficult to see a situation clearly when you're right in the middle of it. Your perspective is limited, and that creates massive blind spots in your game.
So, how do you fight this? You have to find ways to get an outside perspective. Talk through hands with poker friends you trust. Record your sessions and review them later when you're not emotionally invested. Or you can even just practice taking a mental step back during a hand to try and see the bigger picture.
So, we've got the tools to analyze the game. But what's really fascinating is that even the world's best strategy is completely useless if you can't actually execute it. And that brings us to our next set of tools, the discipline tools. These are all about mastering the toughest opponent you'll ever face, yourself.
First up is a concept called via negativa. This is basically the art of improvement through subtraction. So instead of asking, what new fancy complex strategy can I add to my game, you ask a much simpler question. What leaks can I remove? The whole point here is to focus on what you need to stop doing. Stop playing unprofitable hands just because you're bored. Stop getting distracted by your phone at the table. Stop playing in bad games or when you're tired or emotional. By just plugging these leaks, removing the negatives, your baseline game gets better almost instantly.
Next up is maybe one of the most important tools for emotional resilience out there, the circle of control. This model is simple. It forces you to separate everything into 3 categories: things you can directly control, things you can influence, and things that are completely out of your control.
And this quote just captures the idea perfectly. You cannot control the cards, you cannot control the bad beats, but you can control your strategy, your study habits, and most importantly, how you react emotionally. Focusing all your energy on that inner circle, well, that's the absolute key to preventing tilt and playing your A game.
Okay, so the toolkit is built. We've got our tools for strategy, and we've got our tools for discipline. But hey, theory is one thing, right? Now for the most important part. How do you actually make these things second nature and put them to work at the table?
Here's a simple 5-step plan to get started. And listen, the key is do not try to master them all at once. Pick one model, let's say Occam's razor, and just focus on that for a week. In every session, consciously look for spots where you might be overthinking things. Write them down. Then, when you review your hands later, look at them specifically through that Occam's razor lens. Ask yourself, what was the simplest, most likely explanation here? If you do this consistently, over time, these tools will become an automatic part of how you think.
So if there's one thing to take away from all of this, it's this. Becoming a great poker player isn't just about memorizing odds and ranges. The best players, they have a superior thinking process. These mental models are what provide the structure for that process, allowing them to make high-quality decisions over and over again.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Every single player at your table has a strategy, whether they know it or not. The real question is, what's in your toolkit?
Start a live chat now to join one of our clubs or ask us any questions. Message at bluffingmonkeys24_7 on Telegram or visit bluffingmonkeys.com and start a live chat.